everybody, and welcome to a tutorial on the game Graviteam Tactics. This is Agrippa Maxentius, and I've been asked by a lot of subscribers to go ahead and get started on this, and to do my best, and I'm going to try to, I really am. But this game is the kind of game that even veterans have difficulty playing at times, and even veterans are learning stuff about this game all the time. So I'm going to try to do my best here. We're going to start with just a regular campaign, and I'm going to try to show you guys some game mechanics that will help you at least have more fun with the game itself. Now, one thing is, once you actually start a campaign, and this is totally campaign-based, you're going to get this map that's going to come up, and this is showing you what the enemy's trying to do. Now, we're playing as the Russians in this game, and we have to stop the SS Das Reich Division from taking the 104th Rifle Brigade, and we got to do that as best we can. So that, first of all, is, of course, the objective. Now, once that's done, we go ahead and press this view briefing. And at this point, it's going to show us the campaign map, a bunch of our units, etc., all kind of hanging around. At this part of the game, you can actually go ahead and select a unit and move it to different sectors. But this is a defensive battle, so before we move anything, we want to be very careful, because if we actually keep something in a certain place for long enough, it'll build defensive barriers on its own. So let's go ahead and bring this AA gun down, because I don't see any Germans in this particular area. We could also bring this infantry down as well. And at this point, we go over here to this button that looks kind of like a watch, clock, timer, or whatever you want to call it, and we just click Next Turn. And at this point, the Germans, you'll hear some dramatic music, and the Germans are going to start attacking. And as you can see, there was already, these guys have already started building defenses, which is pretty awesome. We're going to go ahead and next turn once again, because we don't want to move them. And now we have a battle. So we have a battle over here, and we also have a battle down here. Now, I'm not sure how these battles are going to go, but I'm going to go ahead and get into one of these and try to show you guys some mechanics on what to do. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, guys, so here we are at the battle screen, as you guys can see. And at this point, you should, of course, see a predetermined battle setting for your troops. Now, you can always change this, of course. And if you don't like these squares, you can get rid of them just by clicking on this flag icon right here. Or the unit icon. Is it the... Wait a minute. Well, I guess we can't get rid of squares before the battle. Very well, then. We'll keep that on. Now, anyway, over here you can see that a lot of these guys are actually dug in, and that's shown by this dug in symbol here. It means that they're in a pretty good defensive position, but if you ever want to change anything, of course, you can always select a unit, for instance. Let's just give you an example here. I'm going to take this unit right here of infantry, and I can right-click and aim in any direction I want. So let's say you think the Germans are going to attack from the west. We can go ahead and right-click and aim this way, and as you can see, the unit's going to set up like that, which is kind of cool. That's definitely something you want to do before the battle. If you see these arrows, this is generally where the enemy attack is going to come from. So we want to set up in that position. Now let's go ahead and get back to the battle map. Once you actually want the game to start, you just go ahead and hit the timer button over here on the right once again, and then over here you unpause. Now you can of course zoom this game up, because one thing about Graviteam Tactics, and I can't stress this enough, this is a game of patience. It's not like Company of Heroes 2. It's not like even like Men of War, Assault Squad, or anything like that, where you're going to get action right away. It just doesn't happen like that. Now, as you can see, since we waited for several turns, our men are actually dug in here, which is pretty awesome. And that's going to give them an increase in defense against infantry, tanks, etc., things of this nature. However, you got to keep in mind that no matter how well dug in we are, if we start facing enemy tanks, there's a good chance, pretty good chance, that we won't be able to defeat them. And that's what I mean to say that in Graviteam Tactics, it's not always about winning every battle. It's about conserving your men. It's about taking victory points. So as you can see, we've got all these victory points around. And it's really about trying to kill as many of the enemy as you can at times. But it really changes, to be honest with you. It keeps changing all the time. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little something about mortars. If you guys take a look here, we've got this unit, which is actually a mortar squad. You guys can see them, and you might be wondering, how do I shoot this thing off? This is something that really annoyed me when I first started the game. I couldn't figure out how I could shoot this. Now, what you need to do is you need to look for a commander in the area. Commanders are determined by these triangles with little flags on top, and this guy, as you can see, he's got a button here that says Fire on the Area. Once we actually select the fire on the area, we apply it to a specific area, and really anywhere on the map will do, and they will start firing in that direction. Now I'm going to go ahead and get to a combat setting and let you guys see that, and we'll get into some basic combat stuff. Hey guys, now this is actually an interesting position we're in. We are now seeing the enemy troops, and this is where the game gets quite interesting. Now at this point, we don't actually have any sort of anti-tank troops. We've got a few anti-tank rifles, but that's not going to save our skins. What I am going to do is go ahead and show off some of these mortar rounds. They might not hit any of the enemy, but we're going to go ahead and left-click on this, and we're going to left-click again. Sorry. Try that again, Agrippa. We're going to left-click on this, and we're going to right-click over here, actually, on this guy. And this is going to set a firing position. So at this point, it's going to take some time, but it will eventually start dropping mortars here. That percentage is going to fill up. And as you can see, what I've done over here with my infantry units is I've selected them, and I've gone down here on these buttons, and I've gotten rid of unclicked shot to infantry, which means that they're only going to try to ambush basically armor units, and that's what they're doing right now. And I've clicked the ambush button, which is right here. I'm going to unclick it and click it again. And see, when I unclick it, they actually pop out of their foxholes. So that's not great. But we are going to try to go ahead and take out some armor with just infantry. We do have anti-tank rifles, but they're not particularly effective. Okay, so we can see here we actually have some enemy infantry getting ready. And there we go. You can see our mortars coming down already. We're going to try to hit some of these guys. They're definitely taking cover. We just actually hit them with an anti-tank rifle. And this is what we get for basically putting the ambush mode on. There's another mortar. Beautiful. So this is the idea you guys can see behind the mortars. And at this point, all we can really do is try to hold this position. Since we have only infantry, it's going to be tough. It really is. It's not going to be easy. But we're going to try to kill as many of the enemy as we can. Now, in this particular battle, there's not going to be much movement. Like I said, a lot of this game is merely about patience and staying put. Basically, your commanders are working independently. They are working with your commands, but think of yourself as an actual general in a war. If they get into a tough spot, if they're not doing well, they're going to stop following your orders. They're not going to keep following them. As you can see here, since the men are set on ambush mode and set on free fire at will mode, which is this button on the bottom left here, bottom right, the left of this particular area, this allows your men to fire when they see fit. You could also turn that off, obviously, and just have them fire when you think they should fire. But just to show you guys movement, for instance, let's go ahead and take one of these units. Oh, I don't know, Banikov here. And what we're going to do, we're going to right-click over here, and let's say we want to move here, and we're going to click Fast Move. Now, Fast Move means they're going to run totally exposed to enemy fire, like crazy men, but they're going to get there very, very quickly. And of course, this is not best for me in this battle. I'm merely showing you guys this so you can see the movement in the game itself. Let's go ahead and take a look here. It looks like one of our anti-tank guns actually managed to take out, or maybe they're mortars, managed to take out one of these wonderful little vehicles here, so that's pretty cool. I want to go ahead and actually turn these guys onto infantry now, since the infantry are getting very, very close here. And you can always switch that out to make sure your men will fire specifically at one target or another. If you want to change your guys' firing arc, what you do, let's say your guys are looking at a position that you don't want them to look at. Let's say we want them to look out here. What we're going to do is we're going to select this button right here. It looks like a little rotating button. We're going to left-click that, and we're going to right-click here and point in the direction that we want our men to be aiming. Now, in this case, I do want them to be aiming this way, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep aiming. But this is one way to change directions of your guns, etc., and it's very helpful. Another thing, now this would be a lot more helpful if we had a tank, of course, but we don't, so I'm going to do the next best thing, is if we want to select, for instance, a specific target that's giving us a lot of trouble, and by the way, we just got 2 awesome shots on those 2 Germans. Let's say we want to select that tank out here. We're going to right-click, and we can see it, and we're going to click Set Targets, and just like you're drawing a screen across, drawing a box on your screen, on your desktop, you're going to do the same here, and as you can see, we're selecting those 2 targets. So those are going to be priority targets for this infantry division. And as you can see, they're not doing great. One of them's on fire here. Oh, taking a lot of nasty hits. But the idea is basically like this. Let's go ahead and take a look at, perhaps, I don't know, one of our commanders. The commanders have different abilities. As you can see, they can obviously drop mortar rounds on the enemy, which is pretty awesome. Let's try to go ahead and switch the mortar rounds over here and try to hit this guy. I see a lot of stuff over there, and so far we're actually doing pretty well for a defensive battle here, because the enemy is not taking this position. So this shows you how good it is to actually dig in. With the help of our dig-in ability, we were able to take this thing completely out. Now, of course, if you want to go on the offensive in this game, you totally can. That's totally an option. I've been learning a lot, and I've noticed that going on the offensive is not always the best idea in these battles. Oh, that was a nasty hit right there. That was definitely some enemy artillery or just a really well-placed tank shot. But right now we want to focus on trying to take out some of those armored cars, etc. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how the mortar rounds are coming in. Come on, boys. Actually, this guy, that's what's shooting. Look at that beautiful gun. He's got like a huge AT gun on top of his tank, and it's also an anti-personnel gun. Boom. Got some mortars coming in. Alright, as you can see, the enemy is moving up. Now, what will ultimately happen in this game is that if you start to lose a particular area, your men will start to either retreat, or they could also surrender if they're surrounded and have no way to escape. Or they just feel they can't get away, and that's something you obviously want to avoid as much as possible. Sometimes your men will stop following your orders. You'll try to get them out of a place, and they'll just say, "Will not follow orders." I think when they're flashing like this, that may be one of these positions, but since they're in such a good position, I don't really want to mess around anymore with them. I want to keep them where they are. Commander is killed. Now see, when a commander is killed, this becomes very complicated. First of all, a unit loses a tremendous amount of morale, and secondly, a lot of times they don't even follow your orders. If I right-click, this guy might follow my orders because he still seems to have pretty decent morale, but like, let's for instance try to move him over here. We'll fast move. Alright, so this is not a great example because this guy's actually following my orders. But as you can see, they're going to try to fast move. But see, they're not really following my orders. They kind of moved out, but they're not moving to the location I wanted them to move to. By the way, we're definitely being attacked by mortars as well. But you see, the harder the mission is to do, the less likely they are to complete it. I mean, sometimes they'll just have a pinned-down unit that does absolutely nothing and just stays put the entire battle. It really does happen. Let's take a look here. Look at all the smoke. We are just being mortared to death, really, here by the enemy. They're really closing the vice grip on us. And obviously, in some battles, you just can't win. There's just nothing you can do. When that happens, you press escape and you hit flee. Once you hit flee, you have 30 seconds before the battle ends. It's the same as a ceasefire, and it allows you to escape with most of your units intact, which is very, very helpful, especially if you know you're going to lose for sure. Now, in this particular battle, I'm being a little stubborn. I think I can still win, so I'm going to keep on fighting. Just trying to think of other things I could show you guys, and like I said, feel free to post in the comments below if you want me to be more clear about something specifically. You know, I'd absolutely love to do that, so just let me know. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try to set targets on these tanks and see if we can hit them at all. I highly doubt it, but that would be pretty cool. But yeah, if you have any other questions, etc., I'd be more than happy to answer them. Now, this is something I didn't show you guys, although now I think it's a bit too late. We do have a commander unit here, and usually commander units like this have the ability to drop artillery, which is this button on the far right. Unfortunately, this one does not, but that is definitely something that you want to think about. Also, you can garrison buildings, just like in Company of Heroes 2, any of those games. Sorry, I don't like Company of Heroes 2 very much. We basically right-click here, and we click defense, and once you click defense, they're going to run in here and garrison these buildings, but I'm not going to do it right now because I think they're in just an okay position at the moment. As you can see, this enemy unit ahead of us is becoming somewhat of a problem, so we're going to go ahead and set him as a target. We're going to put the ambush button on, and hopefully our men will go ahead, and one of them will take him out. But you can see our men are not following our orders right now. They're hunkered down, very afraid. And so sometimes, you know, it takes a while for their morale to come back and for them to start shooting again. Looks like this guy's going to try. Nope. Come on, man. Let's see if we've had any luck with these tanks. No way. And like I said, in this game, sometimes you can't win. This looks like one of those positions because there's a ton of enemy tanks coming, but I'm going to try to kill as much of the enemy infantry as I can. I don't want to put you guys through this whole battle, but I'm going to go ahead and end the tutorial here and show you the end for the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this helps. I really do. Thanks so much, guys, and have an awesome day. Alright guys, so actually a rare example I wanted to show you guys here of an ambush actually working. Now since these units were set in ambush, and what I did, I'll show you the setting I had them on. I had free fire, ambush infantry, shot to aircraft, as well as ambush tanks. Now I could have just put this on ambush just by itself, and that would have been sufficient. But this German crew came up, being really, really, really reckless, and got themselves killed. Now I did nothing. I just left the unit here. They did everything on their own, so that's another thing. I did set target on it, but ultimately my men were able to basically hold them off on their own. Now, as far as the infantry front here, things are not going very well, as you can see. We have killed a lot of Germans, but not nearly as many as we wanted. As you can see, there's even some close combat going on here. One of these German guys is actually trying to jump in the trench. Boom! Oh, you guys saw that. That was beautiful. Just a shot right into the German's back. Unfortunately, this German's probably going to avenge his buddy, because he's kicking this Russian around. But there's sort of just confusion going on here. There we go. Komov is down now. And as you can see, a commander is killed. But boom! Our men, because of their ambush ability, are throwing grenades, and it looks like they took out this German. He's actually trapped in the dirt, but this guy's going to continue to move up a little bit and try to take this position. So there you go. As you can see, the close combat animations could be better. Other than that, I think the game is unbelievable. It's magnificent, it really is. Let's see if we manage to take out any more German vehicles. Although I think it's just that one, as well as the other one over there. Yes, look at the little tank driver burning up. Okay, there we go, guys. So that is the end of the battle. I was going to show you guys the flee feature, but I don't think there was really much point. Now, we totally got annihilated in this battle. That's primarily because the enemy had armor, etc. So it may have been a better idea to flee, but I absolutely had to get some revenge on those armored vehicles, and I eventually did. We killed 11 enemy, 5 wounded of the enemy. We lost 47. Now, if you're like me and you like to look at a battle afterwards, all you hit is statistics, and if you want to get rid of these annoying little squares, you just hit the flag icon and they will disappear, and you can get a really close view at all of the combat and the position of all the troops. So as you can see here, one of the guys in this little thing that was blown up, as STKVZ was blown to bits inside, and one was blown to bits outside here, and he's laying on the ground, which is really awesome. You can kind of take a look at the work you've done. If you want to click the unit, you can actually see the state of the penetration, which is unbelievable. This is how this vehicle was penetrated. Look at this, guys. This is amazing. When the grenade exploded, it penetrated all these areas here, and it actually shows you 7.62 millimeter rounds penetrated this car. So basically, you could destroy these cars with a side angle with just submachine guns and rifles. We also hit the tire, so we immobilized it completely, and it just shows you these really cool statistics that just make the game that much better. As you can see, this poor guy has ended the battle on fire. But another thing it does, and this is actually a Russian guy, so that's unfortunate. Another thing it does is it lets you take a look at the state of the unit. So if we click here at the casualties, 6 are KIA or heavily wounded. 2 are actually still alive. I don't know where they ran off to, but they must have gotten away. Actually, this may be them right here. Yeah. Nope, that's our guys. Well, anyway, some guys can just get lightly wounded, etc. Now, if you see these little blue dots, those are the remaining German units. If you see little gray dots on the field, I'll try to find a few. Over here, there's some. These are dead German units. And, of course, your own units, you can just kind of look on the field and see them. They're the dead units with no dots above them. As you can see, this German machine gunner was taken out. This German machine gunner was also taken out. We took out a few Germans. This was our guy, as you can see. He's got nothing over him. And he could be dead or wounded. If we want to find out how one of our units did, so for instance, let's go to Komov's unit because it took a lot of damage. We'll click that. And we can see here that Komov suffered... and we just mouse over it. You don't have to click this button. 1 wounded, 4 KIA and heavily wounded, and 2 suppressed. And really suppressed just means they're not going to fight anymore. They're taking cover. They don't want to fight, etc. I love the way this guy went down despite being a Russian. That was pretty badass. That grenade attack, etc. So this is just basically a very basic, guys, infantry tutorial for the game Graviteam Tactics. I hope this helps. My whole attempt was to get some help for you guys because I've been asking so many people. Agrippa, do a tutorial on this game, and I'm not a veteran, but I know enough, I think, to at least get you guys started, at least get you guys to at least win your first battles, and have a good time. And remember, this game takes a long time to master, so keep practicing. If you've got any other suggestions, you guys, for what you want in the next tutorial I do on this, let me know down below. The more likes I get, the faster they're going to come, and obviously share this video with your friends if you think it's going to help. Thanks so much, guys, and have an awesome day.